Mecca, hidey ho. Mecca, hidey ho. Hidey.
Open up the trans-dimensional gateway.
Sword, Crimson, and the race of elite aliens with blue skin, long, peaceful, indented, checkered black, oval alien insect eyes were sent to Earth in order to find a new home world. When they got to ancient Mesopotamia, they established a city in the clouds with their spaceship. Crimson found a way to harness energy from Earth's seas combined with electromagnetic energy from the spacecraft that the aliens had provided. When they discovered a rare type of crimson crystal on Earth, they realized that they had found the perfect medium by which to transform the destructive power of Brahma into a constructive energy source. Magnetic fields of Brahma. Perfect medium by which to transform the destructive power of Brahma into a constructive energy source. By combining the electromagnetic fields of Brahma with Earth's abundant natural resource of water through the crystal's medium, they could create an infinitely plentiful power supply for their spaceships and use neutrinos, particles, to other force fields, so that they can crash by going through wormholes and asteroids, as well as other practical applications like food replicating machines that manipulated matter into useful products for free.
You have interfered with human evolution and the ethical alien code for the last time, Calcuttus.
On the Zeon Colony, Lieutenant Max Casbah heads back to what he thinks is ancient Mesopotamia when he realizes it's Earth in its post-apocalyptic future.
Previously on the Zeon Colony, Chapter 14, Origins by Chris Rawlings.
And use neutrinos, particles, to other force fields, so that they can crash by going through wormholes and asteroids, as well as other practical applications like food replicating machines that manipulated matter into useful products for free. This also powered the lights of their spaceship city, much like electricity. When the primitive race of alien lizard Guats found out about this, they decided that they were entitled to this new power source too, so they quickly left their home planet of Guatanese to seek out Earth's natural resources also. After the Guats got there, though, they found out that they were not alone in the conquest for more power. Other aliens have come to this exact spot throughout Earth's history for reasons of their own. Crimson thought to himself in a parallel universe about how he could write a book entitled The Many Lives of Crimson Sunflower. If only at the time didn't cost money. And the harness, the natural power, placed... After all, if time just gets back around like a record album or a video disc, then why not harness the power of natural resources that are going to be replaced by time's natural cycle all over again anyhow? The environment might change constantly, but the cycles of existence repeat themselves in a familiar manner. It's almost like deja vu when you recognize what we had to do because we've seen it before through a dream and of a recognition in a past life. This time around we have to... to make things count, even though there may be other chances to screw things up or make them perfect. But at least there's still the hope that each day, next day, might be better. That's a good enough reason to go along alone, to go on living and not give up when it's a struggle gets too tough. There's always the chance that things could be different, and you might be able to wake up to a better day and help improve your environment the next. Several cities of spaceships had established themselves in the clouds through prehistoric times, where the aliens were just looking for a hydroelectric and a renewable power source all throughout Earth's history, or were they also looking to discover the secrets of their ancestors in human DNA? Some aliens sat secluded safely, supposedly, up in their ships above the clouds in order to observe primitive human evolution without interfering in the revolutions. Some aliens were there in order to steal Earth's natural resources, while others noticed the peculiar similarity between their own alien symmetry and the primitive human race literally below them as they watched civilization struggle to develop new ways of survival. The peaceful blue aliens felt sympathy for the aliens beneath them because the primitive Earthlings resembled the blue aliens physiologically and spiritually from a younger time. Maybe they were distantly related as ancestors from other planets through a genetic connection of natural selection, complicated codes of creation and matter, and carbon-based life form DNA. The ability could be also created through silicon-based DNA. The ability to control the weather through technology and extrasensory perception would be the next stage of human evolution, or aliens, for that matter, if each species wanted to learn how to work together towards peace instead of greed. For that matter, if each species wanted to learn how to work together towards peace instead of greed. The good aliens recognized the potential in the humans for evolution, spiritual growth, and they felt that if given the right guidance on how to optimally utilize the resources, then the humans could become as advanced and prosperous as the aliens, and then they could be more useful to the aliens if they were intellectually equal. Highly evolved blue-brained aliens had expanded their minds telepathically without words. The alien race was one with a connected vibration between everyone. The blue aliens had also lost the biological ability to reproduce because of ages of nuclear war and genetic experimentation from their home planet. They had become sterile and needed a way to survive, propagate, and perpetuate their race, as well as circulate their knowledge of the universe. The Guats, however, were selfish, greedy, and violent, and wanted it all to themselves. The alien lizards tried to conquer the galaxy and couldn't exist with a peaceful council of other alien philosophers. The Guats just wanted to squash the humans like bugs and take over Earth by force for its natural resources. Later on, as society evolves in the future, those Guats become able to shape-shift and disguise themselves as humans to manipulate their competitive greed, since they see what they recognize as a part of their violent nature and the dark side of humans. Whether the good part of the person's nature is exploited or the dark side of their psyche is allowed to roam free, the truth still balances out everything. Some of these shape-shifting Guats transform and infiltrate the corporate businesses in Earth's new future world in order to control financial institutions. They can mimic a life form and shape-shift into an imitated version of it, so other humans would think they were seeing whatever the Guats wanted them to see. Telepathic transmissions from their ships through their brain antenna receptors would help them amplify their paranoia. The new became just another reality show. The news showed meant to be manipulate the masses with hysterical hype about rising prices and economic control. When the corporations controlled the media through the rights to contribute new ideas, this caused evolution to pause while the world's problems would not halt. One side was being lied to for another reasons. I'll turn them into slaves instead. Economically, for the debt of an older generation. The Guats felt entitled to all of Earth's natural resources because of their biological ancestors were the dinosaurs and reptiles that ruled the land originally with their barbaric animal instincts before finding other planets to evolve and migrate to elsewhere, like the Zeon. Alien lizards and salamanders were obsessed with monopolizing the space travel business and finding more and uniquely affordable methods of power for their spaceships. The Guats wanted to hoard these natural resources for economic gain so they could dominate intergalactic trade. The other alien races quickly sensed the Guats' greedy plan through telepathic thought wave transmissions. They realized the best way to fight against one corporate fascist tyrant mafia was to form a united galactic alliance of peace and protection against it through the free enterprise. War between the cities and the sky, as the natives referred to these alien ships above them as their enemies, and then ensued while the people below had no idea what was really going on, so they made up stories about how the gods must have been angry at them. Laser shots. Back, forth, laser shots. Laser shot back and forth like prehistoric thunderbolts blasting between cosmic cloud chariots of wonder. Nuclear Brahma power was quickly converted from its power source to be used as a weapon. All great new inventions seem to be exploited as a weapon instead of helping civilization grow. Maybe it's not always meant to be used as a weapon, though. Nuclear Brahma power was quickly converted from its power source to be used in the cities, and the spaceships and the clouds went to war with each other. Once again and destroyed one another. Blue aliens were willing to sacrifice themselves in order to protect the humans for so long, since they saw the humans as their own future. But when all sides realized what was at stake, they soon raced to obliterate each other out of anger in a last desperate attempt to prevent anyone else from getting the power what they weren't going to be able to obtain. All of a sudden, the great alien spaceships were destroyed, except for an ancient electric lost city ship known as Atlantis, which fell into the Mediterranean Sea and slowly deteriorated, causing a metaphysical rift between time and space and other dimensions known as the Bermuda Triangle. That's another story. Along with few other advanced cities from the sky after a nuclear war that did back in ancient Mesopotamia's time. There was no real victors in that war the time around in the original prehistoric era, much like how there are no real victors in war today. The survivors, no matter how weak or how strong they may be. Even though the truly violent Guats were destroyed in the process, Time's cycle enabled them to evolve again in a futuristic dimension on planet Zeon. All of a sudden, the great alien spaceships were destroyed. The most cowardly blue aliens barely escaped with their lives into Bermuda Triangle, where they could hide in different dimensions of time from the humans and other less advanced or more primitive civilizations. Actually, they were cowardly and courageous, depending on how you look at it, because they realized that it was unfair to meddle too much into human affairs, so they did what they could do best underwater and hid in their spacecraft submarine city for years out of fear, while making alterations in order to repair their ship and adjust every once in a while, resurfacing just to gather some water for the hydroelectric engines of its advanced space propulsion systems and ability for adaptation to the changing environment. They didn't want to be destroyed by primitive humans or be discovered by another greedy alien race coming to conquest Earth, so they had to cover their tracks. This explained years of strange phenomena in the Bermuda Triangle. The leftover Brontosaurus in the cesspool pond prehistoric primordial creation could explain the Loch Ness Monster, just like the change that came along beyond the dinosaur age when pterodactyls survived and evolved into dragons that could have been transported by an alien ship and released through time, genetically altered and engineered by the aliens to breathe fire in order to fight off centaurs on planets in Alpha Centauri. Time Patrol troops evolved to protect humans and other similar species from cataclysmic catastrophes. They wore big white anti-gravity moon boots and seemed to have superpowers because they could appear anywhere in time since they had trans-dimensional technology. Their climate-controlled spacesuits protected them from radiation, while certain alien lizard species had tougher skin so they didn't need spacesuits. The Star Cop organization was actively trying to recruit Lieutenant Max Casbah for the Time Patrol guard job. Sometimes these noble historians were called the Paradox Police Patrol, because nobody knew how the Star Cops could really patrol time unless they had a correct model by which to go on, to time or accurate predictions of what was really supposed to happen in the first place. The only dependable constant in the universe appears to be change, but you can alter, change, and control the universe if you learn everything about your environment. Before Lieutenant Max Casbah got thrown through the galaxy by alien Kadim terrorists, when their bomb destroyed the teleportation gateway, he had seen Omain during his many trips back and forth to Earth from Zeon while he was assigned as the cargo delivery shipment supplier. But with all of Lieutenant Max Casbah's high security clearance, he could not have anticipated how dangerous Gecko and his crew of alien lizard quad Kadims would become. Max was unaware that Omain had hijacked the intergalactic time-metered gate during their escape and had a remote control link to another one that nobody else knew about in order to get back to Zeon through a different route. Omain sabotaged the Star Cop's gate to cover his tracks. The alien fugitives Gecko, Omain, and Beanpool and the Salamander had killed the space ferry airmen who were guarding the gate, and the explosion from the detonation device that Beanpool and his cohorts put into place reset their parallel universe trajectory. Actually, even the aliens were shocked to see the time that they transported to accidentally through the transdimensionally explosive catastrophe. But then Omain disappeared to reunite with Romero for a life of alien crime in the past after he came back from an older time of Starcop land. Max was surprised to find no parallel universe time-metered gates anywhere at first, once he was on the other side of the galaxy, after he set a course for his old home planet, Earth. It took Lieutenant Max about a while to figure out what time period he was in. Possibly stranded in another dimension. But he was anxious to return home, so he quickly glanced at the controls of his spaceship and followed the Milky Way galaxy. He would remember the beacon signal from another teleportation base if he wanted to return to that space station later. He thought about the brief seconds before he left the Zeon Colony in another dimension of an alternate parallel universe, and how he had been given a quick crash course class session on how to work the controls of a teleportation gateway, and saw that the time meter trajectory was set to Earth in his time when he activated the beam, before everything behind him blew up. There were no space ferry airmen guards protecting the transdimensional gate when Max chased Gecko's gang of alien criminals through the porthole from Zeon. Now that they were in the past, this was the paradox of the Time Patrol Force, because there was no telling whether or not another time meter teleportations device ever existed in their time on the other side of the parallel universe gateway. In a flash of light, Max's hyperspace super freighter craft was teleported through the alternate path inside of a parallel universe that led him to Earth in the exact year that he left from the future, or so it seemed.
Where movement is irrelevant. I thought where movement is irrelevant. Since movement is irrelevant,
In a flash of light, Max's hyperspace super freighter craft was teleported through an alternate path inside a parallel universe, or so it seemed. As soon as he returned to Earth, he was relieved to find that the computer readout on board his spaceship's cosmic console controls showed it was the correct time and place in space. But this relief soon turned into instant panic when he looked at the spaceship monitor window view screen and saw the shape that his home planet was in, down below. What if the pain we go through over the struggle for survival is hell? While we're alive is a test to see what we can endure in order to determine if our karma so is worth transcending to heaven. This is a glimpse into the brief sojourn between deaths after the transition between the spiritual... universal heavens. Radiation meters were fluctuating out of control. It was off the scale and maybe way above the danger level for normal radiation readings. Maybe some of the aliens were actually us from the future coming back to try and warn us through premonitions about our impending self-destruction. How many chances would it take for humans to learn how to avoid the same mistakes and pitfalls throughout, for mankind to learn how to stop killing themselves with aliens warning human signs? They're warning humans about certain choices and possibly the wrong applications for science. Max notices several deep craters all down below on the Earth's surface from his computer screen in the ship, and dozens of places where the rock of Earth's crust had transformed into glass, sand, and molten lava on the surface that he had hardened into the radioactive crystal. Only one thing could have caused that. That was all evidence of nuclear devastation. Of course, it appeared that there were no humans left on the surface in this futuristic parallel universe when he was it his own time that he was returning back to? Was this all that was left for him? Max thought to himself, well, Max thought to himself. In fact, there were no detectable carbon-based life forms of any sort on his home planet now, except for a few faint traces of radioactive movement with the ghostly feelings here and there. He used his onboard surveillance cameras to scan the planet for familiar monuments and areas as he rotated the viewfinder cameras on the outside of his ships and deployed the digital remote-controlled robotic video telescopes that broadcasted images on his cosmic console monitor screen. See one familiar location after another one, and ancient wonders of the world in ruins, it seemed. After another, like the planet had been ransacked in a nuclear apocalypse, almost as if someone or something had been looking for a hidden secret underneath the surface of the mystery of existence. What was it? Was life on this planet originally an alien experiment? God could still have something to do with the origins of all life, including aliens as well. What seems alien to us is familiar to God, being the collection of all good vibrations and universally cosmic collective sensations of consciousness, that is, if that's how you define God. Max had always wondered about the origins of everything. He turned his gaze to telescopic video camera number 2 on board his ship, which was hovering above a small island outside of what once was Canada. Even though a huge chunk of the island had been destroyed, it left an exposed area open, which had been carved out of the side of the island that looked like it was connected to what once was an ocean. It was like half of a tunnel carved from the side of a rock. Max pressed a few buttons to zoom the lens of camera number 2 into the mysterious location, viewed it remotely from aboard his spaceship. Remotely from aboard his spaceship. It revealed a tunnel like a never-ending well that went down into the core of the planet, almost like a long arm that could reach through the center into the sea that looked man-made, the likes of which he had never ever seen before. It was like a tunnel into another dimension, almost like the transdimensional gate phenomenon, only this metaphysical tunnel ran straight through the core of the planet Earth itself in the form of water well canal that could have been centuries old. It was like someone had drilled a hole through the center of the Earth and caused the... Drilled a hole through the center of the Earth and caused a cataclysmic event on the other side, except for the fact that there was so much light that you couldn't really see what was on the other side of the underground tunnel. It went thousands of feet underground, where there was still some water left that was flooding part of the stairwell through the tunnels like an unfinished excavation suddenly abandoned for reasons... suddenly abandoned for reasons unknown. The resolution from the video feed was becoming more and more distorted, but Max made an effort to focus the camera more onto what was unclear. At the bottom of the pit, he could see some human skeletons, which were frozen in a state of distress, almost like they had died in a sudden violent death. But they were fused with the rock on the inside of the tunnel. Then, below this travel, there was a canal that led to what used to be the ocean. Something glared back with a sparkle of light that reflects in his ship's camera lens when he toned down the aperture and focused the bottom of this tunnel's pit. You could see the now familiar shape of an elongated alien crystal skull holding a golden box. He knew he had seen this golden box somewhere before, perhaps in a lens into post-apocalyptic Earth's locations. And when it was revealed, it seemed more like a huge heavy chest that possessed a great power at one time before it was let out. A strange type of electromagnetic energy force that was emanating from it. It was completely different than any nuclear radiation left over from anywhere else on the planet. This energy from the golden trunk caused the skeletal structure of the alien that was holding it to glow. It was almost unlike anything Max had ever seen before this travel. There was a canal that led to what used to be the ocean. In his ship's camera lens when he toned down the aperture and focused the camera on what was at the bottom of this tunnel's pit. You could see the now familiar shape of an elongated alien crystal box. He knew he had seen this golden box somewhere before, perhaps in a movie, because it lens into post-apocalyptic Earth's locations. And when it was revealed, it seemed more like a huge heavy chest that possessed a great power at one time before it was let out. A strange type of electromagnetic energy force that was emanating from it. It was completely different than any nuclear radiation left over from anywhere else on the planet. This energy from the golden trunk caused the skeletal structure of the alien that was holding it to glow. It was almost unlike anything Max had ever seen before, and he had been around the galaxy a few times until he looked closer into the monitor and soon realized that the contents of the golden chest were gone. The blue residual energy radiating from the alien skeleton had been left over from whatever was inside the majestic golden chest before it was opened. Max recognized the crystal skull of the alien holding the golden box in its cave because they had just described this ancient alien race to him on planet Zeon before he left the abandoned prison colony behind. But the gold box itself was unfamiliar to him for a different reason. It was vaguely familiar to him because of the something he suddenly recalled about Earth. It was from Earth's history originally. Was this the Ark of the Covenant to see revealed in the apocalyptic end of time as they knew it on Earth? He instantly knew that a galactic army with this artifact would appear to be invincible to anyone who opposed them, as long as they could control what was inside. And now it was only a matter of time these time-traveling thieves and aliens, zombies could find before he could find out who or what took the contents of this golden trunk. He had a hunch that it had something to do with Gecko and his Kadim tribes of alien lizard guats, but he wasn't sure enough to prove it. Why did they open up the mystery now? How did they know about it after all of this time? Maybe it was taken to a parallel universe, or maybe it was in the wrong hands in the first place. Or maybe it was in the wrong hands in the first place. Max was in the wrong parallel universe. He just hoped it wasn't in the wrong hands. What did it matter now that his home planet was destroyed? He was forbidden under penalty of death to change time without the StarCop Time Patrol Council's approval. Max's only hope was to return through the parallel universe gateway that this disaster had caused, and to follow Gecko and his alien cohorts back home for their original origin, the point of origin, in order to find out their destructive plans. He would have to discuss this with StarCops, of course, as soon as he returned, because his home world meant everything to him. Maybe Zeon's civilians didn't realize the importance of their ancestors and their planet of origin, but Max knew how important it was. People deserve to know the truth, and at the risk of stealing their chances to ever know what their society will become if they don't learn from the lessons of history. Distorting the facts of history is an even bigger crime, since it's like lying to yourself as well as everyone else. The scary part is that people who'd rather believe the lies may not be able to accept the truth if they didn't, or if they hadn't been living in the illusions of their perceptions for so long that they had to have no more control over their environment. They can't